Thank you for tuning in to today's episode of the Amish Rebel Podcast. My name is Enos Hirschberger. If you haven't watched any of our videos yet, I greatly appreciate you tuning in. And today's conversation is going to be around the Amish. How do the Amish celebrate Thanksgiving? Do they celebrate Thanksgiving? And if they do, how do they celebrate Thanksgiving? And what are some of the traditions that we would have around Thanksgiving? So I hope you guys enjoy today's episode. And I've got Lavina back on, and we're going to have this conversation together. So I hope you enjoy. Please like and subscribe to the channel as well if you do. And if you find any values in these videos, please share them with your friends. And we greatly appreciate that. So we'll get it started. Lavina, I just wanted to ask you, I know for growing up like Swartz and Trooper Amish, we would celebrate Thanksgiving just in a different way. Mm-hmm. So what are some of the ways that you guys would celebrate Thanksgiving in your house?
So we wouldn't go to work at a shop. We wouldn't go to a paying shop to work. We would still be allowed to work. A lot of times for us for Thanksgiving, so they have the special forenoons, as
yes.
you know. And then in the afternoon, forenoons they can't work at all. And they fast. But then in the afternoons, you could do work. Usually we would either go squirrel hunting or deer hunting or go out to the cornfield and husk corn. Just some farm things. We wouldn't go do work as in going to do a job or anything. No work that would make us money. And then sometimes we had company for dinner. Thanksgiving dinner. It's a holiday, but it's not a strict Sunday kind of holiday like they are with a lot of their holidays.
Yeah.
Because a lot of their holidays are very sacred. You can't do any work on them, not more than necessary, cooking food and stuff. You have to dress a certain way. Thanksgiving, you also have to, in the forenoon, you have to dress a certain way. But, you have to dress your Sunday best. But in the afternoon, we didn't have to dress like that, in our family at least, if we didn't want to. But forenoons are where so they fast. And when Amish fast, they do, only the people that are baptized into the church fast. They start at midnight the night before and they fast until noon the next day. They can't drink any water. They can't eat anything. And then around noon, they have this big lunch. And the kids that aren't church members can eat breakfast. So usually they'll eat a simple breakfast. We'd eat oatmeal with, cooked oatmeal with cake and milk or something for breakfast. Some kind of cereal.
Yeah, I remember that. I remember being a kid and just being kind of confused. Why do we celebrate, or why can't we do certain things on Thanksgiving, but then in the afternoon, I remember telling my parents this, in the afternoon we can go do things, but in the forenoon we can't. So it's very interesting how they celebrate Thanksgiving. I'm not sure why they celebrate it that way, but I know in our house it was the same way. We would fast in the forenoon, and then in the afternoon we could pretty much do whatever. We wouldn't normally go do construction, which is what we did for a living, and that's how Dad made his living. But he wouldn't do that. But most of the time we would go do fun things, like go hunting or go deer hunting, squirrel hunting, stuff like that.
Yeah.
And then but there's always a big meal involved.
Another thing that, and we want to talk about their meals too, what they eat.
Yeah.
Another thing that we did on Thanksgiving days, I don't know, did every family do this? I'm assuming they did, that was similar to the Sundays that we had off of church. They have their off Sundays. They only have church every 2 weeks. Then there are Sundays that they don't have church. We weren't allowed to go outside in the forenoon, before lunch, except to do the chores.
Yeah.
And we weren't allowed to go outside except to do the chores either on Thanksgiving. Thanksgiving forenoon, we couldn't go outside unless we were doing the chores.
Yeah.
So we couldn't go outside to play or anything. And it was the same way on, in between Sundays when they had church.
Yeah, I remember that now. You're supposed to go do chores and get right back into the house and stay in the house until noon comes around, and then you're allowed to go back outside. And so sometimes we would go out and just kind of pretend like we're doing chores and go play secretly until all of a sudden we get yelled at. Like, you got to get back in the house. I don't know why they do that.
I don't know either, but another thing, like I talked, that they have to dress specifically. So on Sundays, you have to wear, the women have to wear capes. Like, I don't have a cape on right now. On Sundays, the women have to wear capes, and the men have to wear their jackets. He doesn't have a jacket on either. They have to wear it inside in the house. Like, they have to wear that. And the men have to have their top shirt buttoned on Sundays.
Yeah, like right here.
But for us, on Thanksgiving, we were allowed to take our cape off in the afternoon. We had to have it on in the forenoon, but we were allowed to take it off in the afternoon. And the boys were allowed to take their jackets off in the afternoon. Yeah. In our family, at least. I don't know if they did it in
it was the same way for us. And there's just, like, so many specific little rules that they follow. But we can go right into the meal, like what they would cook for, or what we would cook for a Thanksgiving meal. Like, what would you guys normally have for a Thanksgiving meal?
So usually we would have a pretty basic, so since we didn't have breakfast on Thanksgiving, like the parents usually, for us anyways, they were the only ones that were baptized into the church, so they were the only ones fasting. So for breakfast, like for us kids, we would usually have some kind of cold cereal, like just a little bit, nothing fancy. And then around lunchtime on Thanksgiving days usually, we would have coffee soup and sausage, and usually cottage cheese. And
coffee soup?
Yeah, coffee soup is a very, like, common Amish food, Amish soup. So we usually have that. Not every family does that, but we did that on Thanksgiving because the reason we didn't have a big meal was because we had company for dinner. So we would wait to have our big meal for dinner when we would have company over. Like, one of our friends from the community or family friends from the community would come over and we would have a huge meal. And cooking that meal was always so much fun. I actually am planning on hosting Thanksgiving or making the Thanksgiving meal this year for our family. We're all coming to Texas here. And I'm just planning on making a big old-fashioned Amish Thanksgiving meal.
Yeah, well, we're extremely grateful for that.
You're welcome. I haven't cooked an Amish Thanksgiving meal since I left the Amish, so I'm looking forward to it.
Yeah, that's great.
So it's mashed potatoes and gravy, usually chicken gravy, because they eat it like chicken stuff on that day, and then stuffing, and they make their stuffing different than stuffing or dressing that you guys eat. It's called filsia. They call it filsia. And I like it a lot better. Like, I had stuffing at our church Thanksgiving last Sunday. Just regular stuffing probably. And I was like, this stuff is not good compared to what I had growing up. So I have mashed potatoes, chicken gravy, stuffing, and then usually creamed corn or some other kind of vegetable or noodles. A lot of times they have homemade noodles. And then applesauce, homemade bread, homemade jam with homemade butter, and usually fruit with cake and milk, canned fruit with cake and milk. They eat that together. It's really good. Try it out. And then pudding and some kind of pudding and pie. And they serve it in that order. They have their hot stuff, and they have their fruit with cake and milk, and then they have their pudding and then their pie. So that's usually what we made for Thanksgiving.
Yeah, it's a lot of food. I mean, a lot like even traditional Thanksgiving meals are. It's just a lot of food, a lot of hanging out. That's what I remember from our Thanksgivings. Is
I missed the meat of the turkey. So a lot of times they would have a turkey, or they'd have, like, they usually raise their own broilers to butcher them, and instead of getting a turkey, they would... A
broiler is a chicken, by the way.
Yeah, broiler is a meat chicken.
A meat chicken, yeah.
Instead of getting a turkey, we would usually keep a broiler and feed it till it got, like, really big, like turkey size. And then we would smoke that thing, put it in brine, and roast it just like a turkey, and we'd have that. Sometimes we had turkey, but usually we had a broiler that was turkeyed. Yeah,
we would have turkey a lot. I I enjoy turkey, but I'm not a huge fan of it. I'd much rather have chicken for Thanksgiving. And so I would always rather have chicken. We'd have both, turkey and chicken. And I'd rather have chicken for Thanksgiving than actual turkey. But yeah, I mean, what are some of the traditions that you hope to keep for your family, now that you're not Amish? Because a lot of people are asking not just for Thanksgiving, and we can just talk about Thanksgiving, but a lot of people are asking what are some of the things that we do since we've left the Amish? Of course, there's a lot that we don't do, but there's some things that we find very valuable, and I think for specifically Thanksgiving we're talking about today.
The family part is what I find most valuable, like getting together with family or friends and having food. I mean, we all know the whole Hirschberger family loves food.
Yeah.
So if there's food, they'll be there.
Yeah.
And we're a loud, rowdy bunch, and it is so much fun when we all get together. And that is what I like most that we did at home. We obviously didn't have the Hirschberger family usually because most of them are ex-Amish, so my parents wouldn't invite them and stuff, but we had other people from the community.
Yep.
And we would all get together and eat and talk and just have fun, literally. Yep. Play board games and do all that fun stuff and eat. We always ate. Yep,
always lots of food. And that's what we still do to this day. Of course, we don't have, like Lavina mentioned, we don't have our Amish siblings there most of the time, but we will have, there's enough of us that have left the Amish that there's usually a pretty big group of people getting together every Thanksgiving or Christmas. I always look forward to that because it's a blast. As long as it doesn't turn into some heated discussion.
Yeah, as long as we avoid touchy subjects.
And that's probably the way it is with most of you.
Every family, yes.
Please leave your comments on.
I've seen
some of the more interesting conversations that you guys, or even traditions that you guys have in your family that you keep. We'd love to read those, and we do read the comments. And I should say we read most of them. Mm-hmm. It's becoming a lot more challenging to keep up with the comments, and I'm grateful for you guys leaving those comments. It's just it takes a lot of reading to get through all of them.
I've seen way too many skits of people who say over the election, people were saying the conversation at Thanksgiving is going to be really interesting this year.
Yeah.
Because apparently some family gets into politics over Thanksgiving.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. I can see how that could be very interesting depending on which side you're on.
It's weird to me to think, because I know our whole family's all on the same side. We do not disagree on politics. Yeah. So it's weird to me to think that there's families, close-knit families, say you and your siblings, that there's siblings that disagree so much on politics.
Yeah. Yeah, it is. I mean, that would be tough for sure. But it's still, even if you agree, there's so much to talk about within politics. If you're a family that gets into politics, I mean, you're bound to have a disagreement about something within politics.
Yeah, but, and I'd say our family very rarely has heated discussions about politics. We'll have serious discussions and debates, but not heated discussions. We moreover have heated discussions about some of our family stuff.
Yeah.
Because we come from the Amish, so we have plenty to talk about when it comes to trauma and stuff like that.
Well, and a lot of times the coming out of that world and not living in that world anymore, you tend to go the other direction because you're told your whole life what to do within the Amish community, and you got to follow all these rules, and you got to listen, and you got to obey, you got to be a good person, and a lot of those things are okay. But when you leave that, it's kind of woo! I have all the freedom in the world. I'm gonna go do whatever the heck I want. I'm not listening to nobody, and so I think that's a lot of the conversations that we end up having that are heated is because none of us is, I mean, we're pretty strong-willed the way it is.
Yeah.
And then coming out of the Amish, it's like, you're not going to tell me what to do.
I lived that for 2.5 years. Like, I did not listen to nobody. Like, nobody told me what to do. And I made a lot of mistakes, so wouldn't advise it. But
you're doing great
I
now.
learned from them, and
you're doing great now.
Oh, thank you.
Yeah, and thank you for taking the time to come on today. I know you're super busy and getting ready
you're welcome.
For Thanksgiving, and I hope you guys enjoy this video. And I also hope that you guys you make great memories with your family during this Thanksgiving. For some of you, it's a sad time, and we'll be praying for you. I hope that you guys still find a way to enjoy Thanksgiving. And yeah, is there anything else that we should talk about when it comes to food? Because you've been becoming very well known for your food videos. And thank you for supporting Lavanya.
It's my dream because I've always wanted to share food.
Yeah.
I just want to share food. So
well, I'm glad because I love food. And so the other night I was over at your house and we had some delicious, what was it, cherry pie?
Oh, yeah. That cherry pie that I posted. Yeah.
That was so good. But anyway.
And I also, I also posted a video, an Amish stuffing video earlier today. If you guys want to go check it out, I will put the link in the caption or something if you guys want to go check it out. So you can compare Amish stuffing to regular stuffing because I don't think they're comparable. Just my opinion.
You mentioned the stuffing earlier. It's made differently. Did you tell the people how it's made?
So Amish stuffing, the way I make it, I don't know how they make it. I've never made non-Amish stuffing. So I don't know how they make it, but I looked up like recipes, like stuffing recipes on Google, and they're so weird. Like they don't have any milk. I don't know where the liquids come in. It's just odd. Like I'm
just not familiar with it.
I just can't figure out how it could be any good because I'm not used to it, and it tasted like it was nothing but seasonings and mushy bread when I had it at church.
Okay.
And what I'm used to is you have some crunchy bread, you have some vegetables and some chicken and some good seasonings and milk and eggs. Like, I don't know. I really love the stuffing that I learned making growing up.
Well, maybe we'll have a stuffing party.
Yep. I'm actually planning on having stuffing for supper tonight. So
nice. That's great. Yeah, I think. I mean, there's definitely food that you think about that we had growing up, and you think that you go taste something that has a similar name, like the stuffing. That would be a good example. Like you think, oh, it's all stuffing is created equal. It's not. And I've had like apple pie. We have a specific way that we made our apple pie, and I had a non-Amish apple pie, and it's not even remotely close to the same.
I'm really curious sometimes. Like, we had 3 different ways of making apple pies. Okay. We had the apple pies with the lettuce tops. Like, it's not a filling apple pie. It's shredded apples with cream and sugar and stuff with lettuce tops. That was my favorite. And then and you can also make it without the lettuce top and just sprinkle cinnamon over the top. And then you can also make the pie with the filling. And then there's people who are like, make apple pie. And I'm like, oh, what kind of apple pie? Because there are 3 different kinds of apple pies that I know of. And the apple pie with the filling is not my favorite. Far from my favorite. Because I'm like, why do I just want to sit here and eat apple filling with some crust? I don't know.
Yeah, what is your favorite pie?
It's my favorite pie. Yeah. The peanut butter pie.
Yeah.
My second favorite is that cherry pie with the cream cheese bottom.
Oh, yeah. That is really good. That's really good. I'm not a huge cherry pie fan, but that cherry pie the other night was great. So, I'm sad you guys couldn't taste it, but maybe someday you can. You'll have Lavina's Amish Country Bakery.
It's so funny.
That would be a good thing, huh?
I had mentioned a while ago to my husband, I was like, I should start up an Amish restaurant. And just make it like an Amish restaurant that other people could like work, like I could hire ex-Amish people from Ohio to help me. Like I want people who are familiar with the Amish to help me. And he's like, no, like, and I'm like, that could be but I forgot about it until just the other night. My older brother was like, you should open a restaurant down here. And I was like, I remember someone else mentioning that.
I have one that that I would encourage you to do versus instead of a restaurant, I should say, and that is a market, an Amish farmers market, like an actual like kind of like a grocery store, but it's an Amish farmers market, and people go in and buy pies and breads and stuff like that.
I would rather do that.
So leave your thoughts in the comments. Should she do that? I think she should.
It would be close to Fort Worth, like 30 minutes from Fort Worth.
So. Yeah. Maybe that would be a hit.
There's anybody in the area? Just give us your opinion.
We'll give you a location maybe in 5 years.
Yeah. Business idea.
No, it's awesome. No. I love having these conversations because a lot of the things that we grew up doing, I've been out of the Amish for around 15 years now, and so it's a great refresher of how we celebrated and some of the things that we still do to this day. Like, we love playing games in the afternoons. We love hanging out with people all day. We don't like, filling up our Thanksgiving with work or doing stuff like that. So it's usually we're hanging out with friends or family. And so I really love doing that during Thanksgiving. And that's a lot of what we did when we were Amish. We just had a very specific way that we celebrated it. So that answers your question. We did celebrate Thanksgiving. We did recognize it as a holiday. It was more of a spiritual holiday in a sense because we fasted. If you're a member of the church, everybody fasted. And so up until noon, and then the afternoon is more casual. And
every time they fast, they just do it up until noon. Like, they never fast past noon.
Yep, and it's never never more than 12 hours. That I'm aware of. I've never seen them
towards the Brahmins at least.
But I'm telling you what, I need to get a bigger hat because I'm reminded that, like, I had forgotten. I get a headache from this thing every time I wear it because it's like really tight, and you have to have it really tight because if you don't, the wind will just take it off if you're Amish. And I guess so you get used to it when you're Amish, but I hadn't worn it so long. But anyway, that pretty much concludes today's episode. And again, thank you. We are extremely thankful for each and every one of you. And we thank you for tuning in to today's episode. And we are excited for this Thanksgiving. We're just grateful. And so please like and subscribe to the channel if you haven't done so already. And leave us your thoughts, and we will see you in the next video.